Well, good morning, everyone. So, we're going to do another day in the life of. Today's day in the life of is all about being an investor. So, as I've tried to kind of allude to on this channel, or these day in the life of vlogs, what I'm trying to do is trying to show you at first kind of the different hats that I need to wear as an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, also one trying to run their own business. So, hopefully, it gives you a bit of an insight. And today's is all about that whole investment side. So, one of the things that I need to be very mindful of is that if I don't earn enough in a particular month, then there's a potential, there's a chance there that I won't be able to take any drawings out of my businesses. Therefore, I need to make sure that I've got contingency plans and diversification of income, and I've got other aspects of it. And one of those is about my investments. So I've got a pretty kind of unique situation, if you like, when it comes to investing, but I'm going to share it with you. One thing I will be saying a lot throughout this, though, is I'm not an IFA, so this is not financial advice. This is just giving you an insight on how I invest, and if you choose to invest in a similar sort of way, then you are doing so at your own risk. The other thing I want to talk about is this. Actually, before we do that, I was told by Lizzie. So Lizzie's our editor over at Boffix. She did say that these intros should be more like this. So apologies for that one. Yeah, that was one of her feedback from how to try and make the vlogs better. Because obviously the vlog side of this channel, is something I do need to improve on. I do want to improve on. So I will be looking as best I can to find improvements. And hopefully, as you saw in the last video, that this camera is actually a better camera as well. One of the first outings for the brand new iPhone 13 mini. So far, absolutely loving it. I just need to figure out the sound properly and make sure that's done. So yeah, so speaking of improvements, one of the things I wanted to talk about at the beginning of each of these vlogs is a bit of a reflection on the last vlogs and the last kind of week of content. So for you guys, this week is all about my collaboration with Kimberly Shepcott over about property, and I'm going to be focusing a lot on property as well, because again, one of the hats I want to wear in one of these vlogs is that I am a property investor as well. So I do have property that I rent out. So I want to make sure that we bring that into it at some point. That one's a little bit more tricky because at the moment they're all tenanted out. So not really much I can show you other than the fact that I get income, unless there's an issue. And it's more about the issues I think that's going to be the most relevant for this topic. So I will bring in at some point those issues. So I'll bring in at some point those issues just so we can see them as well. And from a vlog point of view, we've vlogged a day in the life of YouTube. Now, one thing I do want to stress on this, and again, I'm kind of learning as I go along. None of these vlogs are me trying to flex, trying to show off in any way. They are just trying to show you kind of those other aspects to it. The day in the life of YouTuber felt like it was the right time to do it because that is now becoming a massive part of my day-to-day routine, of my weekly routine, and I have set milestones that I have to hit to be able to make sure that I'm doing the bare minimum for this YouTube channel, and it's giving you those behind the scenes look at how that works. I think it's quite important, so I'm hoping that that's quite interesting content. I also was a little bit conscious of that content that maybe the bit that I added on at the end, and it was supposed to just be kind of a if you want to watch the end you can do, but the whole unboxing thing may have been a bit too long. I did kind of think that when I was doing the editing, and I think also some of the kind of the taking the puppy for the wander and all that sort of stuff maybe a bit too long as well. But let me know in the comments. What do you want to see more of that kind of lifestyle vloggy type, or do you want me to keep it very, very business orientated? I'm happy either way. It's really just a case of what content works for you guys. So do let me know below. What we got planned for the channel this week, though, so the week that this will be on the main Tuesday start, we've got a director's loan one already uploaded, ready to go. So I think that's what's going to go live unless something major comes through. Has been a major change to the mobile app, so that is something I need to be considering. I might do a short form of it first, and then go into a long form of it later. But that might put if that video is kind of more relevant and more important, I might have to push that director's loan account until the week after. From a vlog point of view, and then back to QuickBooks Trainer, I think, for the training element, only because there's some really, I've got some big training days that week, so it might be worthwhile bringing them in. Okay, the puppy is now stood waiting to go for a wander. So I'm going to go take her for a wander first. As always, as I say, with all my many hats, I'll be taking you with me. So as always, I'll be taking you with me. I'm going to be putting you just here so you can see exactly what's going on. We'll take her for a wander for a puppy. We'll take the puppy for a wander. We're then going to go and just have a little quick workout. And then we're going to go and start the day right. So follow me. So cue the intro, follow me, and we will be right back, ready to give it a go. Stay tuned. Okay, so two things today. First of all, on this walk, well, I say walk, on this stand, as I sometimes have to describe it, where she's, happily just messing around, really. It's a shame, though, because I really wanted to show in this vlog what happens at that point there, so we can see it going down that way and down that way. The walk kind of carries on. So that way round is a lovely little walk that goes through a forest. It's absolutely beautiful. And then that way is more of a woodland trail, if you like, following it through. It would have been nice to go through there. So, puppy's done its business, so I will be right back. Okay, so now I'm being told off for not being quick enough, but as you can see, she's not exactly going too far, too fast or too far. I'm sorry, it was just for fun. I used to play a little ping pong. I gotta tell you, it was just for fun. It was just for fun. And here I go, catch you later. Okay, so sat down ready to make a start on the day. Now, first thing I want to talk about is that whole bit I teased about, which was accountability. I think this is where the most kind of benefit that I'll be getting from these vlogs, these day in the life vlog things, is going to come from. You see, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to improve and be better at my daily routine, especially in the morning. There's certain things that I want to make sure that I hit every single day. And one of them, as being a small business owner, I'm sure everyone can agree with. I think everyone will understand the importance of social media and how that's becoming a huge part. And that's one thing where I know myself that I'm not fully got to grips with in terms of a procedure, in terms of a workflow, in terms of anything that's kind of beneficial to the business and to me as well. I've got a workflow and everything for YouTube, that's fine, that's all kind of in place. And I do count that as kind of my most important social media platform out there. But also I need to be aware of the others, so TikTok, a little bit of Twitter, LinkedIn's important to me, a bit of Facebook, a bit of Instagram, all of those ones are really important to me, and I've got to find a way to make sure that I'm putting those into play. I'm also a Intuit champion for the community, so I've got to also make sure that I'm doing my role as making sure that the community is feeling supported and that the questions are being answered and everything that goes with it. Now, that is also another kind of social media platform, if you like, it's a forum. So I've got to kind of bring that into play and find ways in which I can
be accountable for that. So what I've been trying to do, and some success and some not success, but I'm trying to put in a social leader power hour. I'm toying with the idea of, I've been trying to implement a social media power hour, which means in that morning area where I'm normally clearing my emails and getting them done. I've been really good at making sure the emails get cleared at the end of a day. So I'm trying to give myself some space where I can then start giving myself an hour a day just to concentrate on putting a post together, making sure that I've replied to all comments and being more active on social media, but in a more structured way, because without structure it falls apart for me. So I'm hoping these vlogs and these videos here is a way for me to feel accountable for that. And I think that accountability is really important. It's someone I know Rachel talks about a lot over on her channel. So Rachel Accountancy, she's going through doing study with me and the accountability there. Another shout out I'll give is Andrew over Money Mentor UK. He does list with me accountability videos, and it's, you know, the content's engaging enough for people to want to watch and they're invested in it. But from the content creator, it means that they, you know, have to hit those milestones, because if I put a video out and I've not done what I say I'm going to do each and every day, then I'm just letting myself down, and it really does kind of push that one. I suppose the same could be said for, you know, the gym. I'm my workouts and everything else. If we were looking three and a bit years ago, the gym was everything to me, like fitness and everything, and I was so invested in working out, and it completely took over my life. But the only reason I got to that point was, again, accountability. We had a circuit session every Monday, and every Monday I wanted to make sure that, you know, the group of friends that we were with, that I was improving, and I was you know, getting better at the box jump, or I was doing more burpees than I did before, or, you know, I was finishing a task before everyone else, or I was able to help out someone, or whatever the reason was. I always wanted to improve, and that accountability meant that I went completely overboard with the, you know, fitness regime. I was going 3 times a week. I was going 3 times in a day. I was making sure that I was hitting classes at least every single day, and there was a lot kind of going on, but that was because of that accountability. Now, I'm obviously nowhere near that in my fitness regime now, but I want to still get to a point where I'm at least enjoying it again, and I want to build that back up. So again, with these videos, it's a case of, you know, I can't skip going in and doing a bit in the gym in the morning, because then I'm lying to myself that that's what I do as a day-to-day, and it is what I do, and that is what I want to do. So it's almost accountability for that as well, and I think that's really important. So yeah, I think that that's going to be something that we'll be able to work with these vlogs, and I think that's something that's going to be beneficial to me and be able to bring it forward. And I can also kind of explain why I've had to tweak certain bits, and why I'm having to think about it in a different way, why certain things isn't working and other things are, and it should give me that ability to be able to be in that moment and be from there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll work quite well. So the rest of the day that I've got planned, just looking at the diary now. So again, work in progress meeting in a couple of minutes time. That's where me and the team get together, basically find out what's going on. Is there any deadlines coming up? Is there anyone who needs more work? Is there anyone who needs support for work? Have we got any clients who've got issues? Got any new clients that we need to take into? We've got a nice structure to our work in progress meeting. The whole team gets together, we all kind of discuss it, we all figure out what's going on. And the idea is, it just started now, and the idea is that we improve the business in one way or another. I've also got a nip to the dentist. I'm actually going for a Invisalign. I've already committed to it, and now I can't remember what this particular booking's for, but it's all to do with the actual getting myself an Invisalign, so that'll be a something to look for. Yeah, I'm hoping that doesn't affect me too much. Worst case scenario is I haven't realised, and it's today that it gets fitted, and then we find out that for the rest of this vlog I can't talk. But yeah, we'll deal with that if that's the case. And then I've got some time in the diary to do some reviews that I've got to make sure they go out the door. What day are we on? But 6 as well. So there's some VAT. I've just got to make sure there's no VAT issues, but I'll make sure that's from the whip as well. And then I've booked some time in for going through my investment portfolio with you guys, because today there is a reason I've chosen for today, and it's about consolidation. So at the moment I've got too many pots and too many elements, and it's becoming unmanageable at times for just one person. So, I don't have a portfolio manager or anything like that. So, but we'll talk about that more in that section. And then after that, we've actually got QuickBooks Labs today. So that's my podcast that I do with Ash on a monthly basis. So yeah, we'll be able to go through from that. And then afterwards, we've got some other bits to bring into play. So hopefully there's enough in today's content to be able to keep you guys entertained. But let me know below, is this what you're expecting? Do you want more of the kind of life stuff, or do you want more of the business stuff, or have we got the right balance? I'm curious to know what you guys think, so do let me know below. All right, okay, I've got to get myself into that whip. I'm going to put you guys on time lapse so you can see that happening. So cue montage, and in the next shot, I'm hoping that we're on our way to the dentist. If not, something's gone horribly wrong. All right, I'll see you then. Bye for now. Okay then, so just about to nip over to the dentist. I'll catch up with you afterwards and let you know what's happening for the rest of the day. But yeah, just quick update really on what's going on. The whip itself went really, really well. A lot of work updated, a lot of work done, and just kind of sets us going for the next week or so. So we all know what's priorities. We all know what clients we need to focus on. And it just makes it really easy for you. So yeah, I need to get into the dentist now, so I will catch up with you in a moment. Bye for now. Hello, so a bit of an update of where we've got to so far today. So, where did I last leave you? I just come back from the dentist, didn't I? And because I came back from the dentist and the kind of realisation that I might not be able to talk because of this new Invisalign and all that for the first couple of days, or at least talk clearly and had one-to-one videos, I went into a bit of panic mode. I quickly did my video for next week, which I'm going to be doing. Is all about updates to the mobile app. And now thinking about it, you'd already have seen that. if you're subscribed to the channel, it's already been released. It'll be released on Tuesday. Yeah, some really big updates. I've got about half an hour before I go in and do my next element of today, which is all about QuickBooks Labs. So if you don't know, QuickBooks Labs is our now monthly podcast where we go through QuickBooks Online with Ash, and we talk all about what to expect from what's changing QuickBooks Online, what's new, what's happening, give some tips and tricks. It's always quite a nice little podcast, and we do it live as well. So if you do want to join in, ask questions, and feel free to. Anyway, I digress. So the whole point of today was supposed to be day in the life of an investor, but as typical of a kind of day in the life of an entrepreneur type business owner, you'll find that the days don't go according to plan. So I had kind of booked out a good 3 hours worth of session that I wanted to kind of talk with you, go through with you, and also from my point of view, I had some administration that I needed to do and get sorted. But that's not going to happen today. I've got some other really important work that needs to be done. So I've just got to prioritise work first, but I didn't want to lose this opportunity. I've already started the vlog today. I wanted to kind of go through with it. So instead of going through what I wanted to do, which was literally show you my investments and show you kind of what I'm putting money into and how it works, I'm just going to talk you through it. And then next time I come back to day in the life of an investor, we can actually go through then what I'm using, how I'm using it, and everything else. So this is more of a kind of a theory of how it works. So for me, and one thing to note, and I'm going to write it down on here for us all, is kind of my way of investing. Now, again, I said this at the very beginning of today's vlog. One of the things I am not is an IFA, so I'm not an independent financial advisor. Therefore, I am not giving you financial advice here. What I am doing is I'm giving you what I do. And again, if you want to follow my ways, personally, I don't think you should. I think there is definitely better people out there you should be following. But if you want to follow my methodology, though, definitely it could be something that would be worthwhile. Now, I've got a massive advantage, and my massive advantage is, just like all the clients who are part of Boffix, the opportunity is to know what your tax bills are going to be before they arrive. And as an accountant, I know my tax bills to the penny almost at any point, because I've got that knowledge, I've got that understanding, I can figure that out. What I do on a month-by-month basis is I literally look at all my income, all my expenditure. I see what different tax points I could have, make sure that I've got those tax provisions actually to one side. And what that gives me then is that confidence, that flexibility to go, right, okay, what money's left over? I always make sure that I've got enough in a kind of kitty just for a rainy day, again, because I'm working for myself, because I'm kind of self-employed or director of my own company. I do need to be careful and mindful of some months I might not earn enough to be able to take out an actual salary or an actual wage. Therefore, I need to make sure that I've got stuff in reserves and money in reserves. So I'm always looking at that sort of scenarios. I've always got them sort of things in place. I've always got another investment I might be thinking of, maybe to upgrade something for the team, or upgrade something for myself, for the channel, something like that. So there's always kind of a project in line as well. But if you take away all of that sort of stuff, then I've always got a surplus of cash, and I always want to make sure that surplus cash is doing something for me. And part of that surplus of cash I will also utilise is part of that tax money as well. Now, again, from a complete kind of financial point of view, if you're not comfortable and you're not on top of your finances and your investments and you understand what's going on, never, ever, ever touch your tax money. But for me, the kind of point that I'm at is that I could earn something, say here on the 1st of Jan 2021, for example, and that could be the first part of my financial year, so that could go all the way to the 31st of December. And that means then that it actually isn't paid until the 30th of the 9th, 22. Now, if that's the case, and I've got that long between the time that I earn the money to when it's actually due, I personally want to be able to utilise that money and hopefully increase the financial element I've got. You see, what I will always do is basically at the end of the 31st of the 1st, 21, I will put away the tax for that money. That money will go into a savings account, and then that's what I would actually use to invest up until the 30th of 9th, 2022 in this scenario. So, but in that case, what I'm saying is I've got that time lag to hopefully make sure that money grows. Now, being risk diverse, again, because of my current situation, means I'm not going to throw all that money into a volatile solution or volatile investment that may make me, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times the money that I've invested. I'm going to be able to, or my process and the way I deal with it is that I'm going to be very methodical in what I use and how I put that money to one side. Because I won't just have that element to invest, but that's going to be my largest chunk. That's always the money that I will put away to one side. I won't touch it for anything else other than investment purposes. That's all it'll ever get done, because I know at some point that's going to be due to be paid over to the tax man. So I always build my investment into 2 parts. There's my tax pot, as I call it. And you'll be shocked to know this, but actually I use QuickBooks Online to record all of this. So I've got QuickBooks Online telling me how much my tax bill is at any point in time. And then I've got below that how much I have in my tax pot into all the different pots I'm about to go through. And then my other investment money that I've got is just my surplus investment. And I have 2 different pots I then can play around with. Now, again, the one we're going to concentrate on the most is this tax pot, because that's the one for me that is the most important I absolutely get on top of. And I'm very risk averse with this one. I'm not going to put a lot of that money into any high risk situations. In fact, the way I deal with it is I have 40% of it in an ISA if possible. I have another 40% in what I would call low risk investment, leaving me around about 20% in more higher risk, but should be more lucrative. Now, out of all of those, none of those I would put that money into would be anything that I would deem as something that's problematic. So even though I try and stick to the 40-40-20, for me, I'm more likely to put more of my chips into this area here. I'm more likely to, as long as I've got a good deal on it, and as long as I'm on top and I'm confident in what the investment's going to be, I tend to kind of drop that down. So even though my ideal solution is putting 40% in, realistically, most of the time, 50% of it goes into a high risk one, so low risk high investment, whereas you might even find 20% go there and then 30% there. I'm happy to be fluid on that as long as I'm comfortable in the investments I'm making. So what are these low risk and high risk? Well, to me, and the way I deal with it, is a low risk is a more of a long-term, quote unquote, safe stock. Now, you're never, ever, ever going to find yourself with anything that is 100% safe. There are always going to be times when your investment you've put in there could overnight disappear. But if you put it into stocks and shares that you know that majority of people have safe hands on, you know that you yourself have done a lot of research, you understand them, then they could be a good bet. So for me, that will tend to be Apple, people like that, those sort of shares. And to be honest with you, at the moment, Apple is the only share that I've got that confidence in, because I know the brand inside out. I know what to look out for. I know when the peaks and troughs are. I've got a good understanding on it. That's where most of my stock is held, because I know I can comfortably understand and go for it. Now, it's never going to be something that overnight is going to double for me, or it's never going to be anything that's going to cost, turn around. But even if it was to drop down slightly, I know that will recover quite quickly, and I've got confidence I'm going to be able to take out more than I've put in. Maybe not at the return rates that that I could get down at any of the other riskier, more higher risk investments, but definitely I've got the confidence that it will at least give me back what I've put in, and that's, for me, is a good investment, and that's a safe pair investment. That's giving it the opportunity for it to grow, giving it opportunity for it to work for its money, and that's why I put my money into there. The rest of that pot, though, is more high risk, but again, I'm not going into anything that I find too volatile, not going into anything that I think is too much of a risk. So in them ones, I'm thinking more short term. So I may go into Bitcoin, I may go into cryptocurrency at this point, but only on cryptocurrency that I have an a vested interest in terms of I've understood it, I've researched it, I know what I'm going. So Bitcoin itself, maybe Dogecoin if it's going in the right direction. I'd only put it into the cryptocurrencies I have confidence in that will at least come back and return back to where I was before. The other things I would use, that high risk one, is more of a punt maybe at a particular stock that I think is low valued, and I feel that in the next couple of months is going to increase in value. Bear in mind that some of these investments I can make here could be a year to a year and 9 months in there. So there is a lot of time there for them to build up and actually grow and actually get my opportunity. Now, I manage all of these funds by myself, so I need to be putting it into funds where I'm understanding and going into. Then it leaves me with my surplus investments. Those surplus investments are my opportunity to go and try and do something maybe a little bit more risky, a little bit more rewards, but with the opportunity to hopefully be able to get myself some nice big gains, but at the risk that I might lose out on them as well. There could be opportunities. An example of that surplus investment that I made lately was I did take a punt at Coinbase on the IPO. So as soon as the IPO came on, I went for it, put in some money in there, and currently I am set to lose money on that investment at this point in time. So I'll be honest with you, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it can be bad. But that is a sort of investment that, because it was part of my surplus funds, I'm not looking to take out anytime soon, and I'm riding the long game. I'm hoping that in a year's time, maybe 2 years' time, that investment has crept back up again, giving me the opportunity to start making gains on it. In hindsight, I should never have put the money in at the IPO, but with the way that crypto was going at the time, it felt like that could be a really good risk and reward scenario. So I did put an opportunity into it. Unfortunately, it's failed. Again, when we go through the next time I go down and talk about my investment side of things, more than happy to show on screen exactly what I've made, what I haven't, and then you can see then how they go through. So how do I manage my investments? Well, my thing at the moment, my problem at the moment, is because I want to try and be involved in as many of the different investment apps and everything else that are available, so that I can advise clients and be able to have an opportunity to be able to tell clients where to find the reports and all that sort of stuff, then I have my investments spread over a lot of different areas. And that does cause me problems. So what I was planning on doing today is I want to consolidate as much as possible. You see, when it comes to which platform is the best platform to invest on, for me, the criteria I care about most is convenience. I want a platform that I can easily get access to, move money around if I need to. If I need to, suddenly invest in something, or I need to sell something, I can do that really nice and quickly. So my personal opportunity at the moment is to get that convenience. So with that in mind, for my stocks and shares, I would currently using HL, so Hargreaves and Longdown. That's where I keep all my stocks and shares, and that's just a historical thing where I've always kept them, and now because I've used that platform so for such a long time, it becomes second nature of what to do, when to do it, and how that platform works. So for my kind of long-term investments, happy with them sat on HL. Now for my short-term investments, for my more risky investments, that's when I've been using lots and lots and lots and lots of different platforms. So Binance, you've probably heard of Coinbase, you've probably heard of M1 Finance. There's a lot of different platforms that I've been using, and all to various degree of success or confusion or frustration. They've all been able to do their job. And I'm always going to leave a very small amount in each one of them, so that again, if a client was to ask me, how do I get this particular report, I can jump into my own portfolio, find what report it is, tell them how that report goes, and it's going to make me a better business advisor for my clients who are working with crypto. That being said, for me personally though, I just want that convenience factor. And I'm not saying this is the best platform for you, but I'm saying for me and my personal circumstances, Revolut has been the platform of choice. I'm able to put stocks and shares in there, I'm able to put crypto in there, I'm able to record on it on a regular basis, and when it comes to getting that information into QuickBooks, it's a nice easy import-export exercise, making my life easier, meaning that I can track these things much more easier. It also means I can consolidate at the moment where I've been taking punts at different cryptos on that, with that money that I'm not so worried about losing. And that means I can make sure that I'm keeping those different investments in the area. But what I want to do is I want to consolidate all that to one platform, or at least have majority of the ones that I want to track on one platform. And anything else I have elsewhere will again just be to keep that platform alive, just so I can log in there, I can give advice. And mainly they're just going to be punts on maybe some more obscure crypto, for example, that have a potential to explode. I'm going to leave it in there, see what happens, a couple £100 here and there, and that will be my kind of base for those other platforms. But my main platform of choice going forward, I'm going to consolidate all of them into HL and also Revolut. And then the idea then for me is between those two platforms, I can export that data directly into QuickBooks Online using the method I would use. And I'll do a video on how I do that later down the line. But that means I can then have the opportunity to bring that data in, keep it fresh, keep it up and down. I can see how my investments are doing, where my money's held. And at any point I can see that what my tax position is going to be compared to what investments I've got, how easy those investments can be to be realized, meaning that I can have confidence that what I'm doing is always I'm on top of it, meaning that my money is growing for me, is working for me, and meaning that I can actually go in there and make sure that I'm confident and comfortable with my investment strategy. Again, I'm not investing in portfolios or in trusts or anything like that. I'm investing my own time and resources into this, so I want to make sure I make it easy on myself. So that's why I've chosen to go down that route. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, in a future video, more than happy when I've got some more time to go through the actual investments I've got, where I've put the money, and then we can do this on a more regular basis so that you can see how that money's worked for me, what investments were a good investment, what investments were a bad investment, and we go down that route. It is definitely something I'm in. I've always had a passion for stocks, shares, and now crypto as well. So I'd love to pass that kind of knowledge over. Again, I'm not an investment advisor at all. So everything I'm doing here and everything I'm looking at doing here is all about for my own benefit. And it is something that I would recommend that you look at yourself and invest your own time and knowledge into before you make any investments. Right, with that being said, I have got a couple of minutes now before I'm going to be moving straight on to do the do my podcast with Ash on QuickBooks. We've got some really good news, some really breaking news actually in the world of QuickBooks Online and the world of accountancy. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Do let me know though if you think that this has been a worthwhile endeavour. You know, we're going through all of my different hats at this point in time. I don't claim to be an expert on every single one of the hats that I've got, especially when it comes to when we talk about my property investment portfolio. I definitely have a lot to learn in terms of how to make the most out of those properties and make sure that I'm getting the most out of them. But I think my investment policy and the way that I'm investing, as in I'm investing my tax money, isn't for everyone. It is something you have to be very, very acute to. You've got to keep an eye on those investments, because if suddenly one starts dropping, you may need to pull that investment out there to make sure that you've got enough to cover tax bill or whatever it's going to be. But for me personally, a lot of my investment is in one egg. That egg being Apple itself is something that I'm confident enough that it should be okay and should be able to weather any storms. And at any time, I've always got myself a good 6 months worth of lag before I need to bring those investments to good use anyway. So I'm confident that that's going to work for me, but I don't know if it's something that I would highly recommend for everyone out there. But that's my methodology on it. And again, in a future video on this Thursday on these vlogs, when we go back into the investment hat and we look at the investment side of things, then I'll definitely show you what investments I've got, not just the Apple one, but the other ones, how they're doing, how they're performing for me, and then hopefully you could take some of that away and maybe start looking at investing your own potential money into potential investments going forward. Right, I need to get ready. I need to get everything ready for this particular webinar, this podcast, should I say. But do let me know if you've kind of adopted a similar sort of one. I'd love to know if anyone else out there is risky, I think is the right word, as risky as I am in terms of being able to utilise their tax money for good use, and other investment portfolios from there. Right. And also, yeah, being on QuickBooks Online, I will definitely do a video at some point about how I use QuickBooks Online to track my investments, because I'm not using it for its traditional way. I'm using it for more of a cash flow, cash balance kind of scenario, but it works really well for me. It just gives me the confidence that I know that at any point I can check my figures, and I know that I've got enough in the reserve if there's any problems or anything like that. So yeah. Cool. Right, give me a moment then to get set up ready for this podcast. I'll put you on maybe on a little time lapse, maybe of the podcast itself, and then we'll go from there. I know after the podcast I do have some real mission critical work that I need to get done, so I will probably wrap up the day in the life of just after the podcast, and then what we'll do is we'll go there. So brilliant. All right, I need to crack on, so give me 5 for you, a couple of minutes, and then what we'll do is we'll wrap up this vlog. Speak to you a bit. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome, a very warm welcome to QuickBooks Labs. Today is QuickBooks Labs, a monthly podcast designed to be the place to learn all about the world of QuickBooks Online and other accounting software. On the first Monday. Okay, so we're now on to the next day. not quite what I was expecting for the day in the life of an investor. And I think that kind of shows really what to expect from, especially from this series, from this, Thursday slot and everything. My full intention is always going to be to try and show a life of, or show one of my hats off. But yesterday was just one of those days where it just couldn't have happened. And that's kind of typical. You'll always find that clients might need something that's urgent, or you might need to quickly get something done, or a staff member's got something that needs to go through, and your plans just have to always change and be moulded. And I try and make sure that my diary, which I kind of live by, is as flexible as I possibly can be, and I think that's kind of a real key to what was going on. So we'll definitely have to recap on that side of things, and make sure that at some point we do go through the investment portfolio and everything that goes with it. Just to kind of recap on what happened on the rest of the day, I literally finished we finished the podcast. Really, really, really positive, that one. It's becoming a real good little community, that one. There's always people there that can talk, and there's always people live that want to kind of interact with and kind of comment on the news stories and everything else that goes with it. So I think that's going really well. QuickBooks Live, which I think is starting to really find its feet a little bit, which is great. And then basically it was a little bit of firefighting, I suppose. It's one of those ones where and a client had come back, and they weren't annoyed or frustrated or anything. They were just a little bit concerned. They had a letter from HMRC they weren't expecting. And from our point of view, well, especially from my point of view, we'd had the discussion. It was all COVID related. It was the fact that there was a tax bill that was deferred because of COVID, and everything else went with it. And we had those discussions and everything else, but the client had, forgotten about it due to everything else that's going on. And I could have quite rightly, or had the opportunity to go back and say, look, no, you're wrong. It's because of this or whatever. But normally in those situations, what I try and do is try and not only meet their expectations, but try and exceed them. So instead of just kind of going back with like almost a quote unquote apology type esque of, I'm really sorry, but we discussed this and we agreed this and everything else. Instead, we kind of went back with, look, here was the agreement that we put in place with HMRC. Here's what we got. So you're coming to the end of that agreement now. It's time to make do on it. But also, so here's your next load of payments that are going through. So let's really think about your cash flow. Let's try and think about what's due. I gave them a draft set of accounts. I put together all the kind of detail like that. So instead of kind of having that as a bit of a almost like a negative, we turned it into a positive, and we were able to then work with the client to try and make sure that they were feeling like they were supported, and so they knew what their cash flow situation was properly, and so they were able to prep and do that. And yes, it's a massive time sink at that time, but that's an investment that then we can put into maintaining the good relationship with the client and maintaining what we were doing positively with the client. I think that's really important. So I had to kind of change my plans for the day and the evening and try and get things done, but it's an investment to hopefully then go forward with clients as that. So I think that's it's part and parcel of owning your own practice, of owning your own business. Really, you're always at that point where you've got to find ways to adapt, find ways to be able to be more fluid, and give that opportunity for your day to kind of mould and change as much as you can. And yes, there was a real example of that, I think. So I think that's it. I think that's the end of this week's vlog. Next week, I'm probably going to go back to day in the life of a QuickBooks trainer, only because I've got some really good training opportunities next week. And I've also got an opportunity to jump into the office as well on one of the particular days. So it could be kind of like an opportunity to showcase the office, showcase that, kind of show that sort of bit as well. And could be quite a nice little insight into how that works. So stay tuned for next week's vlog. Already discussed what we're going to post on the channel, so that's all there and ready and waiting to go. So drop a like, drop a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think this is working, not working. Be honest, be brutal about it, and then we'll be able to continue with the content going forward. Right, well, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure to do this video for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's dark, I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too. I can be a fighter if you want, I can be a fighter, I can be a fighter if you want, I can be a fighter if you want. All the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new. Even if we stay in bed, my heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. You know I want him, nah, 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 nah. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. Hello and thank you for watching that video. What you may not know is this channel that you've watched this video from is part of a wider group. That wider group is called Apple Core Production, and the 3 channels that we have involved are as follows: Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chat, Boffix Tax Tip. Finally, we have Apple Core Live and Geeky. All the links and everything are down below in the description, but it really means a lot to us if you can go and give a like to the other channels as well.